ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our conjunction video of the week. And this week we're going to be covering our conjunction of Moon, Venus, Jupiter, and Rahu. And what happens when Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Rahu are conjunct in your horoscope. They're in the same sign, same house, known as a conjunction. And as always, if you do not know if you have this conjunction, all the other astrological details, what your other planetary placements are, for that check out the links here. Check my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas at the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Rahu. So as you know, Moon represents the mother, mind, comfort, happiness. It's our, it's our past record. It's a past hard drive, past life's hard drive. It's emotional, our emotional response to the world. Venus represents beauty, comforts, art, media, creativity, women, wife, spouse in general, marriage, romance. It also represents not reincarnation, rejuvenation. It represents legacy. Venus is legacy, DNA, programming. I was actually talking about this on my Facebook post just yesterday. Why is it that Venus has given the significance of computer programming? Like, if you read some of the text by certain scholars from past 50, 60 years, we think Rahu and Mercury or Mars as computers and softwares. Yes, that is true. But when it comes to the actual coding, it's Venus. So Venus becomes important for a coder, not an information technologist, but a coder. Why? Because Venus is DNA. And what is DNA? DNA is a code, DNA code. And DNA is a code that makes us who we are. So instead of genetic codes, the digital code is what makes a software. It's what makes things operate. This is the why you're watching me, right now, because of coding. Then Jupiter, teachers, preachers, counselor, advisors, father, pilgrimage. Not father, I would say. Not father, just gurus or mentor. It's classical knowledge, classical literature, classical art. Jupiter represents astrologer, because astrologer is a counselor. Jupiter represents prosperity, children, husband in a woman's chart. Then you have Rahu. Rahu represents everything which is like unorthodox. Something which is unconventional. Outcast. Foreign, softwares, illusion, photography, filmmaking. The Rahu also actually represents even like sex industry, alcohol, drugs, but also Rahu's enlightenment. And Rahu can also give political fame. So we are now combining all of these things together, okay? So when we see this, first thing we see is that your mother is a creative genius. Your mother has always looked at life and taught you things away from the social norms of society. Mother always loved wearing the nicer things in life, wearing the more fashionable things in life. And mother always wanted to present herself as some sort of an expert and a counselor. And because of mother, you also have those tendencies, because we are hanging out with our mother most of the time. Okay, for most of normal audience and normal people, we really gravitate more towards the mother. Father's at work, mother's at home, we're hanging out with the mother. Sure, of course, nowadays, parents are divorced, you're living with the father half the time, mother half the time. But Moon is the most important planet in astrology. Moon is the mother. You take that genetic, behaviors of the mother more than even the father. And that also actually depends if your sun is stronger than your moon. If son is stronger, then you'll take more genetic codes of the father. And the other thing that we also see is that your spouse, your husband will be very unconventional in nature. They're going to be all about like wanting to just show off. Like, this is who I am. Look how intelligent I am. Look how many degrees I have. Look how I'm recognized amongst people. Naturally, they will try to gravitate towards finding more fame, finding more recognition. And one of the things that you will see about yourself and your spouse, you will have this tendency of wanting to leave a legacy. Oh, I want to leave a legacy. I want to be remembered. And this is something I'm actually going to make a video on probably tonight or tomorrow in my Astrophilosophy Hour about destiny and legacy. It's very important, actually. You're going to find something very, very important there. So we're going to discuss that. But especially, when it comes to educational pursuits for such people, number one, biology, genetics, environmental science becomes number one. As much as you may think this person is going to follow something creative, no. Sometimes even Venus in the 5th house. 5th house Venus is all about creativity, or 3rd house. You will find people who want to do government jobs. You will find people who want to be plumbers. You want to find people who want to be aeronautic science. It's really combinations of certain things. Now, of course, if you're at, let's say, Taurus ascendant, and you have this conjunction, then we can see that this person wants to do something creative. Or if, let's say, you're a Libra ascendant. Why? Because now you have the ascendant lord, which is Venus, and the 3rd lord, which could either be Moon or your Jupiter, conjunct Venus. So 3rd lord has to be conjunct for a person to be wanting to express themselves creatively. But mainly this is number one, a person really wants to study about the environment, genetics, biology, who we are, how do we get here. And Rahu, as you know, represents science and research. You'll find people who get interested in astronomy. Astronomers are seen from this because Rahu represents looking up at the sky. Rahu represents looking at through telescope and looking at the big picture. And Venus represents that creative, artistic, energy within us that's curious about the beauty in the sky. One thing we also see is that there will be a foreign connection with your spouse. Like, you could marry a spouse of a different culture, different ethnic background if Moon, Venus, or Jupiter are Dharakarka, meaning they're holding the lowest degree in your birth chart. Excluding Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and Rahu, Ketu. If they hold the lowest degree in your birth chart, and they're conjunct Rahu in this case, then yes, you will have a foreign spouse. Especially when it comes to arts, media, creativity. You are not afraid of showing your body. You're not afraid of expressing yourself sexually. Like, your sexual energy expands. Why? Because you have 2 planets that just love expanding and exploding things. See, Rahu explodes it. Jupiter slowly expands it. And Moon, Venus, whenever they're together, a person becomes very promiscuous. They can't help it. They just love being loved. They just loved being chased. They just loved being admired. And as soon as they're not admired, they like looking somewhere else. And especially with the Rahu's energy, it becomes more prominent. Now, as much as you see Jupiter here, Jupiter can lower those tendencies. Okay, so instead of you constantly looking, you may look maybe once or twice in your relationship. But it's going to be there. Tendency is going to be there. Jupiter doesn't kill those tendencies. And especially depending upon the sign that it is in, we can see how strongly a person will be able to hold on to that energy. So let's say if this occurs in Pisces, Sagittarius, a person will be much more determined to just love one person and not be so promiscuous, yet be more sexual in the relationship. But if, let's say, if it occurs in Libra or Taurus, then this person will be much more gravitated towards being promiscuous, or Cancer sign being promiscuous. See, you got to understand, Cancer, you may think it's a motherly sign and this and that. Oh no, it's a very selfish sign. Cancer is one of the most selfish signs. Why? Because a mother is very selfish about his child. So we have to look at this conjunction in a context of which house it's sitting in, and what sign it's sitting in. That gives us a much better flavor, of who this person is. Like, especially in the sign of Aries, this can show a person who wants to be a natural athlete, or somebody who wants to be a police officer, government professional. Not police officer, I'm sorry, but more like wanting to be a bureaucrat, or being in a government administrative position. But what I just gave is just a more basic outline. But your spouse will be very educated. They're just very intelligent. And they pick up things like that. And they naturally always are put into counselor, teacher, advisor position, including you. Why? Because you have two gurus together, Venus and Jupiter. And then you have Moon, the mind, being controlled by them. So mind always wants to teach. Mind always wants to be in a directorial position. It can take orders from other people, because you feel like, hey, I'm the expert one. Why do I need to take advice from you? I need to give you advice. You see? So anyway, guys, this was my explanation of Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Rahu conjunction. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your conjunction is placed, all the other astrological details, my books, reports, consultations, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.